Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my dearest sisters. I hope and pray that you are all well. I'm Sabah Altaf, the same person from last week. Inshallah, today we will be doing part 2 of Surah Yusuf. Um, One of the sister mentioned about recording. Just to let you know that there is an attendees group, WhatsApp group called Quran Studies, or Quran Circle, I forgot. And we always share recordings and any other information there. So if you have not joined that group, we can send you the invitation and you can join it yourself, inshallah. Okay, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وأصحاب الأجمعين وأمهات المؤمنين. Assalamu alaikum again, dear sisters. Okay, I would like to know who remember anything from last week. Hello? Jazakallah khair, Huma. Anybody who wants to join our group, you can join yourself, or you can send Rim your number, and she can make you join the group. Okay. Anybody remembers anything from last week, or which part of the story got stuck in your memory more? You were thinking about it. I can't believe that you would not think or ponder over things after listening to Quran. That's what Quran is. You need to ponder it for the rest of the week. Or if you remember anything, you can use your mics. We're just going to spend 2 more minutes on it. Homa, is there an echo?
No, Sababaji, it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
The voice is fine.
Okay.
What I remember, I'll share.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, how Allah moves you from one place to another, and what went through with the life of Yusuf alayhi salam. What was others' planning and what was Allah's planning? That I kept on thinking quite a lot about it.
Mashallah. Yes, mashallah. Yes, that's it. Allah had a different plan, and Yusuf al Islam's brothers had different plan, and Allah is the best planner. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Um, Now, last week we did quite a little about history, history of that area and history of the kings who were ruling in that area. But I didn't want to put too much information in one part, so I decided to split that for and something we can discuss this week as well. What we're going to talk is about the Israelites. Now, tell me who the Israelites were. Anybody can suss out? We
They
talked
were the
about it.
children, weren't they the children of Prophet Yaqub?
That's right.
Or was,
Excellent.
yeah.
Yeah, they were the children of the prophet Yaqub, and they were 12 brothers. And each brother then become a tribe or a family later on. Okay, so in the 9th or 10th year of Yusuf alayhi salam's rule over Egypt, he sent for all his family to come from Palestine and to live in Egypt near him. And according to Bible, he settled them in the land of Goshan or Goshen, where they lived up to the time of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And it's not far away from the capital at that time, and it was supposed to be a very fertile area, a beautiful green and fertile area of Egypt. And what happened that after the death of Yusuf alayhi salam, the Israelites, the children of Israel, enjoyed a long time of prominent and powerful position, not only in the social and business sector, but also in the politics of the government. And during this time, so they become quite powerful during this time. They become quite rich as well, very well off, because they were into businesses. They were holding businesses. The reason being was that the Hyksos kings, they loved Yusuf alayhi salam a lot, and they respected him a lot, and they gave him a whole term to rule over Egypt. Um, and his family was also very, very well respected. And Yaqub al-Islam died, and then when Yusuf al-Islam also died, so this must be the second generation enjoying the power and the comfort in Egypt. It could be second or third generation that they became very lazy and corrupt. So lazy, arrogant, and corrupt they became. Now, what happened that during this time, a nationalist movement, some of the pure Egyptian politician or people, they grouped together and they wanted to overthrow this dynasty of Hyksos kings. Um, and they said that we are the pure Egyptians and we should be ruling Egypt, not these outsiders. So they started making a movement which became quite powerful, and they overthrown the at that time's king, and as a result, they murdered these Hyksos people, and they some of them they murdered, and some of them they exiled. So there become, there arose a dynasty, a bigoted dynasty of Copts into power. And what they did was they uprooted everything that was connected to Hyksos king. Do you have any idea who those people were, these nationalist people? They were very much like the Modi of today, and the people who do not want other people to share their country. They wanted just their blood and them. They don't want anybody else, let alone to rule them, even not to live in their country. Um, who do you think those people were? Because they were quite famous in history. Any idea?
The pharaohs? Are they the
The
pharaohs?
pharaohs, excellent. Well done. The pharaohs, these were the pure Egyptian, and they overthrown the Hyksos king dynasty. Um, and since the Israelites were close to the Hyksos kings, then of course they were also punished, prosecuted, and made slaves. What they did was that they got rid of all the Hyksos people and dynasty, but they kept Israelites in Egypt because they wanted somebody to serve them as well. So they made them their slaves. And from there on, Quran then mentioned them in connection with the story of Musa alayhi salam. So whenever Quran mentioned about Bani Israel, that was after this time. So when you put Quranic account of the story of Prophet Yusuf and the story of Musa alayhi salam, you can clearly understand the characteristics, the attitude, the psychology of the Israelites people. Although the story of Prophet Yusuf, as given in Quran, it differs very much in small details from that of Bible and Thamud. However, the three generally agree in regards to major component parts. So the major parts of the story are exactly the same, like in Bible and Thamud, but the small details are different. And Bible give more details. Bible's got like the names and some very weird part of the story they've created, but it's much more in detail. Prophet ﷺ said that in regards to Bible, do not either reject it or apply it or implement it, because there are still some portion of Bible which are authentic speech of Isa alayhi salam. So you cannot fully ignore, disregard it or reject it, but you should not apply it as well. You should not implement it on you. It's just there for your information. And to be really honest, it will not make any difference if you don't know that information. Okay, inshallah, we will start the recitation. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وقال الذي اشتراه من مصر لامرأته أكرمي مثواه عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا وكذلك مكنا ليوسف في الأرض ولنعلمه من تأويل الأحاديث والله غالب على أمره ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون ولما بلغ أشده آتيناه حكما وعلما وكذلك نجزي المحسنين وراودته التي هو في بيتها عن نفسه وغلقت الأبواب وقالت هيت لك قال معاذ الله إنه ربي أحسن مثواي إنه لا يفلح الظالمون ولقد همت به فهم بها لولا أن رأى برهان ربه كذلك لنصرف عنه السوء والفحشاء إنه من عبادنا المخلصين واستبق الباب وقدت قميصه من دبر وألف يا سيدها لدى الباب قالت ما جزاء من أراد بأهلك سوءا إلا أن يسجن أو عذاب أليم قال هي راودتني عن نفسي وشهد شاهد من أهلها إن كان قميصه قد من قبل فصدقت وهو من الكاذبين وإن كان قميصه قد من دبر فكذبت وهو من الصادقين فلما رأى قميصه قد من دبر قال إنه من كيدكن إن كيدكن عظيم يوسف أعرض عن هذا واستغفري لذنبك إنك كنت من الخاطئين وقال نسوة في المدينة امرأة العزيز تراود فتاها عن نفسه قد شغفها حبا إن لنراها في ضلال مبين فلما سمعت بمكرهن أرسلت إليهن وأعتدت لهن متكأ وآتت كل واحدة منهن سكينا وقال تخرج عليهن فلما رأينه أكبرنه وقطعن أيديهن وقلن حاش لله ما هذا بشرا إن هذا إلا ملك كريم قالت فذلكن الذي لمتنني فيه ولقد راودته عن نفسه فاستعصم ولئن لم يفعل ما أمره ليسجنن وليكون من الصاغرين قال رب السجن أحب إلي مما يدعونني إليه وإلا تصرف عني كيدهن أصب إليهن وأكن من الجاهلين فاستجاب له ربه فصرف عنه كيدهن إنه هو السميع العليم ثم بدلهم من بعد ما رأوا الآيات ليسجننه حتى حين صدق الله العظيم. Okay. All right. Now what we will do is that we will resume from where we finished. If anybody remember where we finished? Does anybody remember what was the last scene of the last episode? No? Oh, I better check my chat.
The
No?
caravan had rescued the
Yes?
Prophet Yusuf,
And?
and they go and report to their father.
No,
That's what I
no, no, no.
remember.
Nobody reported
No.
the father. Father's got absolutely no idea. But the
Okay.
last scene, the absolute last scene was that Yusuf is being sold. Did you remember how the bidding was going up and up? When people look at Yusuf and his beauty and his nobility, his noble way, the way he stood, the way he talked, if there was any reason for him to talk, people just realize that he is not a normal everyday slave. So there was this excitement as well. Do you remember that? Anybody remember how the bidding went up to from the dirhams to the perfumes and silk? Yeah, nobody remembered. That's strange. Okay, I will. Maybe I have not mentioned it. So let's see. When the caravan reached Egypt, Yusuf was taken to the slave market. Does anybody know how the slave market is? Have you seen any films where the slave market worked, like how the slave market was? No? Okay, it's very much like a cattle market where slaves of all ages and both sexes were displayed naked to be thoroughly checked by possible buyers, just like animals are. Slave trade was a big business, and having young, beautiful, and healthy men and women as slaves was a status symbol as well. I have a feeling we did not do this section, so I beg your pardon. I'm sorry if I thought that we've already done that. Okay, so it is said that when Yusuf was brought on display, there was an air of excitement in the market. And people were amazed by his beauty, his grace, and nur on his face. And there were buyers all around him. And the prices were going up and up, reaching to spices and silk, because at that time the spices and silk were the big commodity, which was the most expensive commodity of that time. And remember the hadith, which is right in front of you on your screen. The Prophet ﷺ, said in regards to Yusuf al-Islam's beauty that that Yusuf and his mother were given half of the beauty in the world, subhanallah. And the beauty does not only mean beautiful features or fair color or a tall height. Beautiful also means the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the manners you show. And they say that with Yusuf alayhi salam, there was this nur around him as well. So here we go. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. The person who bought him in the Egypt said to his wife, deal kindly with him, maybe he prove useful to us, or we may adopt him as our son. Thus, we made a way for establishing Yusuf in the land and arranged to teach him the understanding of affairs. Allah does whatever He wills, but most people do not understand. Okay, the person who bought Yusuf alayhi salam was said to be the finance minister of the land. So he was very close to the king, and one of the most, after king at that time, finance minister was the most powerful person. And so it's said in Bible, they say that he was a finance minister. Uh, um, and according to Bible, his name was Potiphar. But Quran only called him Aziz, which means a person with higher position and authority. So here I should remind you that Quran only gave three names without throughout the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, and one was Prophet Yaqub, the other was Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, and the third name was, which was going to come, is Benjamin, his younger brother. All the other names were taken from Bible, although both Bible and Thamud differ in small details of the story from Quran, but the major events are the same. So the minister realized that the expensive slave he has bought is not just good good looking, but he is also noble in looks as well. There was something different in him than the normal everyday, slave. The minister was convinced that Yusuf must be from a good and noble family. That is why he even questioned Yusuf al-Islam's sellers, the caravan people. And he said that I have a feeling that you have stole this boy from a good family. And they said, look, we have not kidnapped him. We bought him as a slave. So Aziz took him home to his house, and he told his wife. Now, according to Bible, the wife's name was Zalecha. So he told Zalecha to look after him well. What is unusual here? Can you pick something unusual here? Now, he's bought this very expensive slave. He took him back home, and he told his wife to look after this child, to look after this slave. What do you think was unusual here? Any idea? All right. in normal cases, a slave would be told that this is your mistress and you have to look after her. But here we see that it's going the other way around. It's the opposite. And not only that the minister confided to his wife, not only that, that he said to look after her, he also said that we might adopt him as a son. So he, during this time of buying him and bringing him home, he realized that he's got a very special person and he can make full use of this child. And there's also, I mean, there are some narrations saying that they didn't have any children. Some narrations say that they didn't have any son, where we don't know much. It is explained in the Bible in Talmud that after a while, Potiphar, which is who was the minister, gave all the running of his household in Yusuf's hand. It is in a good account of Bible telling the daily routine of Yusuf alayhi salam, how he was become in charge of money and everything, and the minister just would know the food that he's eating. He had absolutely no idea how his house was running. This is the trust and confidence he put in Yusuf because of Yusuf's eloquent manners and the way Yusuf was. And he was very, very intelligent person as well. Okay. Also, in the ayah in front of you, we've got the ayah in front of you in English translation, and it says that thus we made a way for establishing Yusuf in the land and arranged to teach him the understanding of affair. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. What does that mean? It means that Allah picked this household for the special training of Yusuf alayhi salam, which was needed uh, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's in his grand plan, Yusuf alayhi salam was to become the ruler of Egypt. And by now, he only knows a life in a desert, in a very small community, more like a Bedouin life. He had no idea how metropolitan cities work, how elite and professional people work. You know, he had no idea. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala picked this Aziz house, the minister's house. So after the king, this was the most powerful and the rich house that Yusuf alayhi salam was brought. Um, Although living in the household of Prophet Yaqub, he developed good qualities of worshipping one God along with other high morals, which were the correct characteristic of the family of Ibrahim alayhi salam. But however, this was not enough to enable Yusuf to direct the affairs of Egypt, which was at that time one of the most cultured, civilized, and powerful countries of the known world, Egypt. So the all-powerful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made arrangement for this training and sent Yusuf to the most elite house in Egypt. Now he was entrusted with all the affairs of the house and the state. There were social gatherings in minister's house where men of power would talk about different issues, not realizing that they are teaching and training the future king, subhanallah. So there Yusuf al-Islam obediently standing, because he became the side man of the minister in his house. He knew everything. All the keys were with him and everything. And he's probably pouring wine and these snacks to in beautiful trays to these ministers, while the ministers are talking all about the running of the government, the corruption, the morality, the immorality. Everything is discussed in these rooms, while Yusuf al-Islam is quietly taking this information. Okay. And when he reached his full maturity, we bestowed on him judgment and knowledge. This is how we reward the righteous people. The word here is used for knowledge. The word uses hukam. Hukam in Quran means wisdom. In Arabic means wisdom and ability of correct judgment. It is also used for authority and command. So hukam is got versatile meaning. It means authority, it means command, it means understanding of jurisprudence of things, and correct judgment and wisdom and ability. So this is, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that we then bestowed this wisdom and ability to judge correctly, and authority and the command and everything, for the training for the future king. We bestowed hukam on him. And ilm means in Arabic, ilm means knowledge. So thus the wording of the verse means we gave him the power and the authority and the knowledge needed for judging rightly the affairs of the people. Now the woman in whose house he was started, no, sorry, I'll say it again. Now the woman in his house he was started seducing him. And one day she closed the door and said, "Come here." Yusuf replied, "May Allah protect me from this. My Lord has given me a good abode. Should I then misbehave like this or be unthankful? Such workers of iniquity never fare well. They are never successful." All right, I'm going to ask you a question. The woman in whose house he was living started seducing him. Who was that woman? She was Aziz's wife. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have said, or why didn't he say, Aziz's wife started seducing Yusuf? Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made a long ayah of saying the woman whose house Yusuf was living started seducing him? Any idea? What is the wisdom behind? What does it tell us? You can write or you can unmute yourself. No idea. Okay. Since Yusuf was living in her house, eating food given by her, enjoying luxury and facility of her house, it was very difficult to say no to any of her orders. She was looking after him. Not only she was his mistress and he was her slave, she gave a lot of favors to Yusuf by giving him a lot of luxury, giving him good food, giving him good clothes, giving him good room to live. So it must be very difficult to say no. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how the situation was, how difficult the situation become? And then in the same ayah, it says, "May Allah protect me from this." And the best and the strongest protection from any sin is Allah's protection. Because in the ayah I read, when I was reading, it says, Ma'azallah. Ma'azallah means I seek protection of Allah. So when the best and the strongest protection for us in any situation, when we need protection, and specifically from shaitan and from any sin, is to seek protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then in the same ayah, it says, "My Lord has given me a good abode." Now the word Rab it is translated in English as Lord. It can be taken both for our Creator, Lord of the universe. Also, Rab can be used for human beings as a Lord of the house or Lord of the manor. We can take both meanings in this verse. So in this verse, we can take both meanings. After so much bad, like for example, if we take the creator or the Lord of the universe, it can be read that after so much bad happened to me, my creator, my Lord, still protects me and grant me a good, easy abode. So that is referring to the Lord of the universe. If it is the master of the house, my master, the Lord of this house, have been exceptionally kind to me, so why should I do such a thing? Such disobedient and disloyal person will never be successful in this world and in the hereafter. So you can take both meanings. She advanced towards him, and he also would have advanced toward her had he not perceived the burhan, the evidence from his Lord. This was so that we may remove indecency and immodesty from him. Indeed, he was one of our chosen servants. The word in Arabic is burhan. It is wrongly spelled on your screen. Homa's young boy, bless him, he made the whole presentation for us. I didn't want to scare him too much by keep telling him to change this and change that. So we thought, okay, we're just going to leave him. Um, May Allah grant him a lot of wisdom and a good life in this world and in the hereafter. Had he not perceived the burhan, actually, the word burhan means proof or evidence. So prove to him that his Lord is with him and he will take care. So had he not suss this out by now that his Lord is there for him. Going in the well, brothers trying to kill him, getting sold, and then ending up in this house, um, and then looked after by these two people who are very good to him. All this tells Yusuf al-Islam, your Lord has not left you. Your Lord is there with you at all time. Don't be frightened. Don't be disappointed. Don't be disillusioned with anything. Okay. So his confidence was sky high. And he said, if I have not seen that, if I have not sussed that out, it would have been very easy for me being a man. Allah has put those emotions in both men and women. So being a man, and it says that Zulaikha was still a young woman and a very good looking woman, a very beautiful woman. Yusuf could have given in on the spur of the moment, but he showed immense strength in controlling his nafs, his desires, because he remembered his Lord at all times. On the other hand, Zulaikha is getting anxious and angry. How dare he oppose her, a mere slave? What do you think uh, what does Zulaikha's action show us? I mean, she was rich and powerful and beautiful, and she is begging her slave to give her attention. What does it show to you? Any idea? A powerful woman, a rich woman, a beautiful woman, wouldn't she have, other opportunities? Why is she asking her slave? It shows that she was ignored by her husband. Hmm? Number one. And number two, that her position in the community and in the elite circle was so high that other men would dare not even look at her. Now, you must understand that corruption was deep in roots in the elite societies of Egypt. Okay, So, and immorality, corruption and immorality. So it was nothing out of ordinary if a woman is having an affair with another man. But in Zuleika's case, things were getting different because number one, her husband was not giving her full attention. Maybe he is involved with a woman himself. We don't know and we cannot assume that. However, she was lonely. Okay, let me just put, okay. This was so that we may remove indecency and immodesty from him. This is what the ayah says. Um, Allah, in His grand planning, put Yusuf through this hard test so that he should become immune from indecency and immodesty. For he would have to apply all his power of piety to withstand such a great temptation. And at
And
very young age. And this
yeah,
shows us the moral condition of Egyptian society of that time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala straight away started training him that his desires need to be strong as well. He must not give in because the immorality of Egypt was quite prevailing and quite high. And in future also, he might get into such situation that beautiful women would be very eager to have him.
can I ask you something?
Yes, go ahead. Sister, I can't hear you, my dear.
Sorry, I may have accidentally shut it. Please start it again.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, we
Okay,
can.
I'm not sure about something. You know, you said why would Zuleika um, try, seduce Yusuf? We
Mhm.
don't know that at all. Uh, we knew that in the past there were slaves for men and women. So I'm sure she would have had the right over them, as it was the culture at the time. And even in Islam, we can take our garments off to what your right hand possesses. So I think it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the slaves. So because it's like your property. But I'm not talking about Islam here because Islam was not at the time. But when we say maybe it was something that she used to do, I do have a trouble for that because when later on she was ridiculed by the other women in the city. That's she's a temptress. She invited the others to there is the thing of the peeling. I don't know if it was apples or potatoes,
Yeah.
because he was
Mm.
such a good looking that anyone would have fallen for him. So maybe it's not something she used to do. I'm not trying to justify her or anything, but we don't know that because maybe you're right. Maybe she was a lonely woman. Maybe not. Maybe yes. But his beauty apparently was so big that it was impossible not to look at him, and because he was living in a house, there
You're
was
absolutely right, Sister Thomasina. You're absolutely right. There could be many, many, many reasons. And with the immoral society and the slave trade, it was free sex. Okay, the right hand is Islamic rule, and that's a totally different rule, and we won't go into that.
yeah,
However, she raised him for a few years, and
yes,
she did not, her husband told her that he can become our adopted son. Okay,
mm-hmm.
when we will reach the other ayah about women, then we will discuss the other side of it as well.
Sure,
So I will carry on. You are very
okay,
right. You're very right. And when you read more than one tafsir, extended explanation, different people would give different opinion.
Mm. Yeah,
Okay?
eh, yeah, Jazakallah khair, sister. I really
Jazakallah,
appreciate.
Jazakallah. Okay. All right. Where was I? At last, let me see. Okay. At last, Yusuf and she raced toward the door, one behind the other, and she rent his shirt, pulling it from behind. And they met her husband at the door. Seeing him, she cried out, "What punishment does the one deserves who, what punishment does the one deserves who shows evil intention towards your wife? What else than this, that he would be put in prison or torture with painful torment?" Now, as Yusuf tried to reach to the door, her lust turned into anger for his disobedient action. Okay, she grabbed him from his shirt behind, as if saying, "Come here, you. I'll teach you a lesson." This is just an expression. She did not say that. But her action were very, a lot of anger in it. Yusuf carried on advancing to the door, and the shirt still in her hand torn. So Yusuf is still running and she is still stretching the shirt, so the shirt tore. Yusuf managed to open the door, but to his utter shock, he saw the minister standing right in front of him. See how quickly she changed her attitude, because she was angry at Yusuf already. She was angry at Yusuf. It was too easy for her to announce an evil punishment as soon as she saw the husband. Okay, so I don't think there is much to explain. I have to look at the time as well. Okay, I'm going to read now the few ayats together, from 26 to 29, and then we will do its meaning. Yusuf said, "It was she who solicited me." At this, a member of her own family gave the circumstantial evidence, saying, "If the shirt of Yusuf is torn from front, the woman speaks the truth and he is a liar. And if the shirt is torn from the back, she speaks a lie and he is truthful." When the husband saw that the shirt was rent from the back, he said, "This is one of your cunning devices. Your devices are very cunning indeed," means you women. "Yusuf, leave this matter. And, O woman, beg forgiveness for your sin, for you were indeed the wrongdoer." Yusuf straight away defended himself because she started alligating him. So Yusuf straight away defending, and she also suggests a punishment for him straight away. So he told the truth. He said, telling the correct happening, that she was the one seducing me. You can imagine the shock, the hurt the minister must be going through. How can he misjudge Yusuf and trusted him so much? It appears that when the minister came on the scene, he was accompanied by a person from his wife's family. This is what Quran says, from her family. Just to satisfy his own judgment, the minister took advice from this person before he punished Yusuf. So the relative, he advised that, look, if the shirt is torn from the front, then it is evident that Yusuf was trying to grab her, and she, in her struggle, tried to free and torn his shirt in from the front. But if the shirt is torn from behind, then it is obvious that she was trying to grab him and he was running away from her. The minister handled and dismissed the case quite lightly. So the minister found out that it's his wife, not Yusuf. He blamed his wife by merely telling her that you women are so good in making cunning plots. You should seek forgiveness from your God. And he told Yusuf to forget this stupid incident and busy himself with his task. That's it. What do you think? What does it show us about the minister? Can anybody have a very quick? I have to look at the time as well. Okay. It shows that he knew and accepted the moral corruption in their social circle. He might be unfaithful to his wife himself. We don't know. The last thing he wants is it become the gossip of the town. So it shows that when corruption and immorality happen, it weakens you automatically. You're helpless. You can't do anything. You're just worried about your position. The women of the town began to talk about this matter, saying, "The wife of Al-Aziz has been soliciting her young slave, for she has passionately fallen in love with him. We think that she is manifestly doing the wrong thing." I do agree with Sister Thomasina that this must be where the slave trade is. The master is free to do whatever they want to do, and sex also was a big part of it. But Quran tells us that the women are finding it very difficult that such a high status woman is fallen in love with her slave. So that also showed that in that particular circle, there must be some, you know, even having an affair has to be with somebody big with big authority. I don't know. We could be totally wrong, but this is how Quran mentioned it. Okay, the incident did leak out and become the gossip of the town. The women are not gossiping over Zulekha's disloyalty, as it was quite normal in the elite circle, but they were surprised that the wife of such a high-ranking minister was seducing her slave. What a distasteful situation. And you know what it says here in the verse? We think that she is manifestly doing the wrong thing. Now, in corrupt and immoral society, who cares what the other person is up to as it becomes normal? You know, isn't this immorality normal for us to see and to hear? Even, may Allah save us, we don't involve ourselves, but who cares? I mean, we don't come and think, oh, there are so many people having an affair. It's just become normal for everybody, subhanAllah. Why these women were showing so much concern? They were more interested in getting a chance to pull this couple down from their powerful position. That's all they were interested, you know. So to be really honest, they weren't that loyal friends. When she heard about their cunning talk, she invited them to a banquet at her house and got ready pillows for the party and placed before each of them a knife. Then, when they were engaged in cutting fruit, she made a sign to Yusuf as if to say, "Come out before them." When they caught sight of him, they were so amazed that they cut their hand and exclaimed spontaneously, "Good God, he is no man, he is a noble angel." Of course, Zulekha also found out that, what opinion her friends are giving about her. In fact, they had an agenda of taking her and her husband and her family down from the status, the big status they have from, through this scandal. To prove them wrong, she arranged a girly party for them. She ordered to arrange fruit and sharp knife for every seat. When they start cutting the fruit, she made Yusuf come into the room with some more food. Seeing this extraordinary, good-looking young man with an air of nobility and that special noor that was illuminating his beautiful face, the women were mesmerized, and one of them cut her finger by mistake. She gasped and gave a small scream with pain. Now, this is in an Islamic book, in one of the scholars' explanation. This is not in Bible. This explanation. Um, Only one woman cut her finger, and she just screamed gave a short, gasp or a little scream with pain. Seeing the blood on her hand, Yusuf al-Islam hurried to get some bandages and healing ointment because he was in charge. He went to the woman and sat down opposite her. And started bandaging her finger. Seeing this, him giving full attention to that lady, the other got jealous and started cutting their fingers deliberately. They even declared him an immortal angel. So, although Quran says that they cut their finger, Quran did not explicitly explain. Only one woman cut her finger, and when Yusuf alayhi salam was bandaging, the other got really, jealous and annoyed of getting this attention from him, and they deliberately started cutting their fingers. You can imagine poor Yusuf alayhi salam running from one woman to another, trying to bandage them. She said, that is the Zulekha, that my friend, my dear friend, is the one you were blaming me about. And I did seduce him and tried to get him to slip off his character. Then he held on tight. And if he doesn't do what I command him to do, he will definitely be imprisoned, and he will be from those that have been humiliated. She used the word humiliated. Okay, we're gonna read that. This ayah tells us the moral decline situation of Egypt was at that time. There seemed to be no shame in openly seducing a young man while being a woman of prestige and authority. In fact, she is boasting in front of her friends that she has fallen for a man with high morals, and she is determined to teach him a lesson if he still resists. She specifically says, as-saghirin, from among the humiliated. Why? Because she has been humiliated. So she used this word. Quran words, they are packed with wisdom. You can spend a whole night evaluating or discussing one ayah. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. Either we stop here and we've got like uh, two more ayats to go, or I take your permission to finish it off today. So if you let me, I can finish those two ayats, or otherwise I can add them in next week's lesson. So let me know quickly.
I think you should go ahead. What do you think?
I agree.
Okay. All right. Jazakumullah khair.
Agree.
All right. Jazakumullah khair, my dear. It's
Just
only, so we're 32. I'm only doing 35 ayahs today. Okay. He said, Master or my Lord. It says master here, but it's Rabbi, so master or my Lord. Prison is more beloved to me from whatever they are calling me towards. And if you don't remove me away from their plan, I will give in to them, and I will be counted among those who are swayed by their emotions. Look at the control of Yusuf alayhi salam. Now, this ayah tells us that Yusuf al-Islam is still in the room with the minister's wife and her friends. However, he does not talk about God to them. Instead, he talks to Allah as though he subhanahu wa ta'ala is with them in the room. So Yusuf al-Islam is amongst these women who are all attracted to him, and through all of this, he's communicating with Allah to remove him from their plan. This is the beautiful state of ihsan. Now, my question is, what does ihsan means? Anybody knows what ihsan means? It could be a difficult word, but we'll learn. Any idea what ihsan means?
Is it when you are aware of God's presence at all times?
Mashallah, mashallah. That's beautiful. It is to know that God is, even if we can't see God, then at least we know that God is seeing us all the time. Now he is among these beautiful women, and they are all attracted towards him, and he is talking to his God. This is amazing. This is amazing. Many people of good character and strong strength would fail. And here Yusuf alayhi salam was like a mountain, like a stone. There is a hadith that I've put in the screen. When asked, narrated in Sahih Bukhari, when asked who is the most honorable in the sight of Allah, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Yusuf, Allah's Prophet, the son of Allah's Prophet, and the son of Allah's Prophet, and the son of Allah's Prophet. So Yusuf, son of Yaqub, son of Ishaq, son of Ibrahim. He was the most honorable. Ayah 34, when his Rabb responded to him and Allah turned away from him their plot, certainly he is all hearing, all knowing. Some scholars say that had Yusuf alayhi salam asked Allah to only remove him from them, that he would not have been imprisoned. But he said, prison is more beloved to me, and Allah respond to his dua. So in this book, it says the lesson for us is that we must be careful in how we praise or dua to Allah, because Allah is always listening. The way we praise or phrase or dua has an impact. Yusuf alayhi salam was an extremely intelligent and wise person. If he has asked for prison, he meant prison. But the writer, the scholar here is trying to teach us that we might not be as wise, and we do not need to word or duas in such a way that it restrict us. Let Allah decide. So we ask for good, and let Allah decide what goodness we need. Okay, the last ayah. Then it appears to them, after they had looked at all signs, they are going to imprison him until a given time. Them here means then it appears to them. Them here actually refers to the husbands of all these women. They were the wives of these politicians. Their wives have all cut their hands, and after finding out what happened, they meet together because their career are now at stake as a result of a stupidity of their women. They need to figure out a way to suppress the scandal. They thought of the implications that this might have on their career and decided that the only way they could suppress the scandal was to imprison Yusuf without trial until a given time. They would soon forget about Yusuf because he has no political significance for which there is a need to uh, for which there is need to remember him. There is no need to remember him. Okay. This situation shows how weak the men were. Even though they had so much power, They could not handle a slave with noble and pious character. And this shows how weak Aziz was. Look how much Yusuf al-Islam done for Aziz. He was running all his life immaculately, so honorably, so honestly. Not even a penny was here and there, you know. And Aziz was enjoying a free life of luxury because of Yusuf al-Islam looking after everything. And he is ready to put Yusuf al-Islam in the prison because of his wife's way, how helpless they were. Um, Yusuf al-Islam stayed 9 years in a rotten dungeon without a trial, without a trial. Now, my question to you is, living thousands of years later this incident, does this injustice sound strange to you? You understand my question? We are
No, no,
living.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It happens all the time.
No, it doesn't. You're right. It happens all the time. There are thousands of Palestinian men and women and children locked in Israeli prison without any trial for years and years and years, and some of them undergoing unimaginable tortures. Most of them does not even know what their crime is.
Even in Guantanamo.
Even I'm just going to say that majority of the prisoners in the U.S. notorious detention center Guantanamo Bay, and there are still 35 men locked. Most of them were never even charged, let alone a fair trial. Julian Assange case is equals to death of free journalism. There is no free journalism. Why were Arshad Sharif, the Pakistani journalist, Shireen Abu Akila, the Palestinian Christian journalist, and many other journalists murdered because they were presenting the truth, the reality. And this is so after thousands and thousands and thousands of years of nothing has changed. Human psychology is the same. Human characters are the change. Characteristics are the same. And human psychology is the same. It's only our surroundings and way of living has changed. We'll quickly go to the learning points. I should have asked you every day, but every day I'm running late. Trust in Allah. The whole of this story and what we learned for so far tells us that we cannot compete with Allah's planning. And He subhanahu wa ta'ala always plan good for us, even if it does not even look good. Safeguard your morality and always remember Allah when in sinful situation. That is ihsan. Okay. So we try to be in the mode of ihsan, which is not easy, but we try from somewhere. And Ramadan is coming. Let's practice ihsan as much as possible. Immorality and corruption becomes widespread when members of a community fails to show responsibility. Remember that corruption and morality always, immorality and corruption always go hand in hand. And also remember that injustice is the root cause of any evil or destruction. Any evil you can imagine, there is always an element of injustice behind it. Best example I can give today is that the injustice and suffering inflicted on the people of Gaza and the rest of Palestine is I'm going to ask you, who is to be blamed for the suffering and injustice of the people of Gaza and Palestine since last 75 years? Who is to be blamed? Okay, give me a quick answer.
All of us.
Very good. But most of all,
those who do nothing.
sorry?
Those who do nothing, as well as those who oppress.
Yes, yes, but the main blame which comes is on is the Muslim leaders. Why? Because Allah elevated them and gave them the position of the leaders of the believers, the Amirul Mu'mineen. They are the Amirul Mu'mineen of today. But what is happening? That how can you sleep next door when your neighbor's child is being killed systematically every night? Couple of children being killed, and it's your neighborhood. You're not doing anything, and you're the you're the powerful person. You're the Amir. You're the leader. Prophet ﷺ said Muslims should be like a body. If one part is in pain, the whole body aches. How can you sleep at night when your neighbor's babies are being killed? Allah gave them the supreme responsibility of being the leaders of the believers, and they reduced themselves into slaves in worse situation. They are seeing their people being killed, being massacred, being genocide, and they can't do anything because they are bought. They are the worst slave one can imagine. May Allah guide and protect our next generation and make them true leaders of this ummah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who will fear only Allah and no one else. اللهم آنس وحشتي في قبري، اللهم ارحمني بالقرآن العظيم واجعله لي إماما ونورا وهدى ورحمة، اللهم ذكرني منه ما نسيت وعلمني منه ما جهلت وارزقني تلاوة أناء الليل وأناء النهار واجعله لي حجة يا رب العالمين. I will ask your maghfirah from Allah and you for exceeding 30 minutes. My normal duruus are try my best to finish them on time, but this story, there is so much to discuss. I tried to cut it and then I put it back and then I cut it. So may Allah make it easy on me, and may it be beneficial for all of us. We cannot do justice to the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot do it at all. But if Allah chose us to say it and to help each other understand it, may Allah make this book clear and understandable to us, and we implement it on ourselves, and we spread its message to the four corners of the world. Ameen Ya Rabbul Alameen. Jazakumullah khair, my dear sisters. Next week, same place, same time, inshallah, with part 3.